name is Xanna and I am an author, writer here on YouTube, and today we're gonna do something I've kind of been putting off for a while, but also just needing to give myself a rest from, and that is starting the third draft of my novel. My first novel, The Binding. I started this project back in April of 2019. I finished the first draft in November or December of 2019, and then I did the second draft in like 2 weeks, 2 to 3 weeks in January. I edited the entire thing, and I burned myself out, and I was getting really confused. I was getting a lot of advice and comments and things I just didn't know what to do with, like what did I implement, what did I change, how did I change things and everything. But I think I'm finally ready to start working on it again, if that makes sense. So what we're gonna go ahead and do, I'm just gonna go in as an editor actually. I'm gonna go into my second draft. We're gonna edit chapter 1 together. I think I would love to edit like the first 3 chapters with you guys. I think that'd be a lot of fun. Give you guys kind of a look into my writing, my editing process, and it's content. Content's good, so the only thing I'm really hopeful for is that I don't start crying, because I already feel like I'm gonna start crying because so much has happened since I started this book over a year ago. I finished this book, I'm a little over halfway through my second book. It isn't the second in the Binding series, but it's its own separate standalone book, but so much has happened, and I'm really excited. Probably gonna cry a little bit, don't judge me, I am a crier. Maestro is sitting on his chair being all happy, so let's get started. Don't cry. Don't cry. Alright. The last time I was in this document was back in March. Wow. Chapter 1, The Western Groves. I think that can work. It's really interesting because these are the words I wrote. I wrote these words, but I'm almost looking at them as if they aren't my words. Like, it's been so long, I'm almost looking at this as if I was doing editing for someone else's book. The harvest season was drawing near. Do I need this comma? Yes. And Lux's favorite task was helping the emerald trees. The harvest season was drawing near, and Lux's favorite part was turning the emerald trees to a magical gold. Do we want to add a word here? Like kind of a adjective? Leave that in as a comment. She took a deep breath. She could feel the buzzing force of the crops as soft blades of grass tickled the bottoms of her feet, sinking her toes into the soil. The feeling intensified. That's a long sentence. The buzzing force of the world, feeling the buzzing force of the land. Yeah, land. I like that better. As soft blades of grass tickled the bottoms of her feet. Ah! There we go, sinking her toes into the soil, the feeling intensified. She helped provide a bountiful harvest this year, as she tended to do for her people. Her followers were faithful. They cared for each other and their land with great respect, values she held dearly. Their land was fueled with so much power that they took full advantage of. They were the most skilled farmers Lux had seen in generations. Wow. I wrote that? Interesting. Don't need that at all. That's just kind of restating things I've already said. As the trees began to thin, the familiar smell of a wood-burning stove drifted closer. I'm gonna use wafted. The W on my keyboard is broken, so I will either get one W, two W's, or no W's. It's more common for me to either get two or none, so not gonna crap on a free keyboard though. As the trees began to thin, the familiar scent of a wood-burning stove wafted closer, covering the previous scent of dew and soil, and the aroma of delicious meals cooking melded into it as she stepped into the clearing, breaking free of the trees behind her. Alright, we're gonna do a new paragraph. Yeah, I think that's better. Kind of condensed it down. It's a little less telly in a sense, almost, maybe? Let me see. Her followers were faithful, and they cared for each other and their land with great respect, values she held dearly. As the trees began to thin, her mind was covered in the musk of burning wood and the smells of roasting meat. I like that much better. Do I want to add anything else about it? Oh, the sense. As the trees began to thin, her mind was covered in the musk of burning wood and the smells of roasting meat. The sense intensified as she stepped out of... No? Yeah, she stepped into clearing ahead, leaving the lovely companion of trees behind her. Alright, first page down. Up ahead, children were running and dancing with dried flowers in their hair. Though she had heard their laughter for several minutes playing on the breeze, it brought her great joy seeing it happen before her eyes. Yeah, that's fine. Raising her arms, that's a new action. Do I want an entire little line that's just one sentence? I don't know. Raising her arms, the breeze flew in for the groves and spun around the children, bringing cotton fluff, bringing little pieces. Bringing little pieces of cotton fluff to join in their game. The children squealed in joy and began chasing the small pieces. The white pieces. Okay, so I've kind of stated it now that she is not human. She is actually, in fact, the goddess of this particular piece of land. And I played around with the idea that she would be able to, it wasn't this way in the first draft, but that she would be able to control the elements of the land around her. But I didn't like that she had, like, such a large amount of power, if that makes sense. I needed her to have some kinds of limitations, and so I created that there were the elemental gods, and that she couldn't just do whatever she wanted, whenever she wanted, with the wind and the weather and things like that. But I'm not sure how I want to continue with that, because it almost doesn't make sense in a way. Like, it's her land. You'll find out very soon about something called the balance. And that she can't just disrupt the balance of the world. But I think this is honestly small enough that it shouldn't really matter. It was just kind of put here as like an introductory into that kind of system. But I don't think I need it. Doing this, keeping herself hidden in a glamour, meaning that like she's been able to keep herself hidden. That's why they haven't noticed. Their goddess right there. She looked past the group of children to the group of men watching them. They were sitting on barrels or leaning against the barn they shaded themselves in. A barn they shaded themselves in. She would have thought nothing of their watching their children, not for the odd intensity they looked on with. She approached them, still keeping herself hidden in the glimmer. Not the biggest fan of this section right here, but there's always more edits that can be done. I think it's okay for right now. I'm gonna change it to the word though. That was the main thing that was bugging me. She would have thought nothing of their watching the children. There we go. If not for the odd intensity they had. Just make that had. If not for the odd intensity they had. There we go. That's much better. See? Don't give up even after you say you're going to. Is that all one sentence? Moving on. Who knows? It wouldn't hurt to start packing real soon. We can't be caught off guard. Looks, another man said. I don't need to give him an action. I can later, but not every dialogue tag needs an action. Roughton Village lay close to the eastern edge of her land, just a few villages past it, before opening up to the vast. I already said that it's eastern, so that's unnecessary. Before opening up to the vast countryside that Lucaria shared with the neighboring land, Axelon. Lux had met their god a few times while settling the odd tiff between their peoples. Each experience was as uncomfortable as the last. Alright. Looking out to the east, Lux strained to see. Goddess she may be, she couldn't see the damage the men were talking about. Action, she shook her head. Never mind that. Let's see what we can do about those crops. Yes, I put internal thoughts in italics. Alright. Closing her eyes and doing her best not to fall asleep, Lux moved her mind down into the ground, sinking her toes into the soil like the roots that surrounded her. Lux became a beacon. Maybe I should keep the word as. Lux became a beacon of power for the crops, letting them draw from her energy naturally. Letting them draw from her energy naturally. When they had taken enough to keep her from standing, she slowly sank to her knees and lay upon the ground. The scent of the soil was welcoming, blending perfectly with the burning wood from the stoves. Peace settled over her. The crops would continue drawing power until they needed no more and were ready to harvest, which would happen once the star kissed the sky once more. Alright, that is the first 3 and some pages. I have no idea how long this is. It wasn't the first chapter. I actually ended up finding a lot more things to edit than I thought I would, and I think that's exciting. That means that I'm catching things that I really hadn't during my first few passes, and that's really good. Because this isn't really like the pure second form, this version. Like some of these chapters I've rewritten several times. I've gone over them several times. This is just the second draft. I've edited this, but yeah, I think that's good. I think I did a lot. I don't feel bad about cutting things right now. Maybe I will more later, but as it stands, I'm not upset that I'm finding things that are wrong. I think I'm actually excited, like, oh, like, I can make this better now. Like, I'm actually seeing things that are wrong and fixing them. Like, I've also learned a lot more about writing since starting this, and I think it's really exciting. Let me know what you think. Let me know what you think about my editing abilities. Let me know what you think about my story. Let me know if you want to see me continue to edit the first 3 chapters in a series here. I would love to. We're gonna quickly go into a full frame shot super quick. So yeah, like I said, let me know what you guys think. Don't forget to like and subscribe and ring that bell so you get notified every time I upload a video. I upload videos twice a week about fun, bookish, and writing things. You can also follow me on all my social medias. I'm on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, all at XannasBooks. I hope you've had a wonderful time with me here today. I hope you've had a lot of fun, and I'll see you next time.